We're going to do 21 questions.
Sweet.
One of the questions that I was so surprised did not surface because I literally just posted an Instagram story.
Yeah.
Send me your questions. I picked my favorite 21.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the pejorative language, I'm sorry. The magic underwear.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that someone was going to ask that. So I'm going to just be like, what's the deal with the magic underwear before we get all this started? Because I want to know about, like, I don't even know what it is. I just heard people talk about it. I'm sure that's not accurate.
I kind of figured this question was going to come up just because it always happens.
It's just a weird thing.
It's just
Are you wearing magic underwear now?
Yes, but it's not called magic underwear.
Of course.
We call it garments. They are sacred pieces of material that we wear as our undergarments. They're, our underwear. And it helps remind us of the covenants that we make, the promises to God that we made inside the temple.
Huh. So you wear them every day of your life or only on missions?
Every day.
Yeah, so we wear them every day. After we've attended the temple and participate in sacred ceremonies.
Is that like the LDS version of confirmation?
No.
Like what does it mean? You've participated in sacred ceremonies.
So there are sacred ceremonies that we participate in, and there's a video that we can actually give you a link to for afterwards. It kind of explains what goes on in the temple. But part of that is the reason why we wear these is to help us to maintain and keep aware of the promises that we made inside the temple.
Yeah. It's kind of like a nun's robe, but we wear them on the inside.
Oh. So is there any like supernatural property to it, or is it just literally like, oh, it's any other type of undergarment and it just reminds me of my commitments?
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. There's no supernatural anything to it.
Well, that's a little bit of a letdown.
I mean, if you shoot me with a bullet, it's gonna go right through it. It's not like ting ting. It's like, oh, I'm Superman. It's not like
cool,
it's not magic.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was kind of hoping that there'd be some magic. Never mind. We don't need these questions anymore.
Whoosh, Instagram gone. Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys ready to go for 21 questions?
Sure.
Yeah.
21 questions coming in from my Instagram family. Question number 1 at Tyler Morrison in Music. Have you ever unknowingly drank caffeine and loved it?
So.
That's a guilty face if I've ever seen one.
So with caffeine, we can participate in drinking caffeine. That's the common misconception.
You can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So funny story is like my friend and I drank like a 12-pack of Mountain Dew together. So like he had 6 and I had 6. And then like right after that, we drank another 12-pack of Mountain Dew.
Dang.
So we were up for a
Go
while.
wired.
Like it was not the best thing for us to do. We were playing Rocket League, just having a good time, and everything. But with the caffeine beverages and everything, we choose to abstain from coffee, tea, tobacco, alcohol. Those are things that are a part of the word of wisdom. That is a revelation given through Joseph Smith to help maintain the purity of our bodies and things.
So it's not a rule, just more of a guideline.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you could drink coffee and it's not, no one's upset.
Yeah, we choose not to drink coffee because that's just something that has been recommended for it. If we do drink coffee, we're not going to be like shunned from the church. It's just going to be like, well, how come you're drinking coffee? And then they can kind of talk with their local leaders about that personally. So
you would have to talk to your local leaders if you had a cup of coffee?
No.
No.
It's a personal relationship with
Gotcha.
God. So
Cool. Question number 2 at _Kim DeGracia. How do you respond when faced with rejection from residents of homes that you visit?
it's a good question.
We just say, all right, thanks for your time. Like, we don't really, like, we get rejected all the time. It's kind of something we're used to, but we're not negative to it. You just kind of accept it and move on.
Cool. Question number 3 from at @official_Anthony D. What do you believe happens after you die?
So we did kind of talk about that a little bit in the discussion that we had.
We'll include a link below this video.
Yeah, so we talked about where we go after we die. We talked about pretty much the plan of salvation in that video.
Spirit paradise, spirit prison, and ultimately judgment into 3 layers of heaven.
That's right.
All right, very good. Question number 4 at Trisha Thorman. What are some of the nuances of Mormon subculture?
So is she talking about like lingo? Is she talking about like...
Yeah, well, just give us an inside scoop into what like Mormon subculture.
That's a good
like.
question.
Yeah,
I love
what's
that
something
question.
that like is an inside joke between all Mormons that like we would just be like, huh?
What?
Yeah.
There's a... Sorry, I just looked like a minute. I thought he might know what I was talking about, but then I realized I'm like, he doesn't know how to read minds, and neither do I. So it's like... So a lot of times there are specific things that are done in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that are pretty well known among members of the church that may not be well known among people who aren't of our faith. One of those things is BYU I Do. It's BYU Idaho, where young Latter-day Saints go, and they're like, well, I can't find anybody to marry, so I'm going to go to BYU Idaho. BYU I Do. What are some other things? If I say Studio C, do either of you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
BYU
Yep.
TV. Yep. General Conference. Do either of you know what that is? That happens every 6 months. So we have one coming up in April, which is supposed to be like a really incredible general conference. We're all excited for it.
Cool.
And that happens
Can
every
you
6
watch that
months.
on YouTube?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, what can you as a missionary?
Yes, we can.
There
Yeah.
you go. You're allowed to this time.
Normally we go with members of the congregation or with people that we're teaching, and we'll watch it on their TV. And so they'll usually go to BYU TV, or if they do have it on YouTube, then we'll watch it on YouTube and stuff like that. So, what are some other nuances of the church? Can you think of any?
I'm gonna remember a ton after I leave.
Right after. I should have said that one. Just trying to think of other things. The MRS degree where girls go to get married. Yeah.
What's that?
The MRS degree where Mrs.
Oh, the Mrs.
The
degree.
Mrs. degree.
Get out of here. I totally walked into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just, I don't know, some silly things that are like well known among the church. Like if I said popcorn doesn't come from an apricot tree, like there's a song that it's just like a silly song that we sing in primary. It's like,
can you sing the song?
I looked out the window and what did I see? Popcorn popping on the apricot tree. Spring has brought me such a nice surprise. Blossoms popping right before my eyes. I can take an armful and make a treat. A popcorn ball that would smell so sweet. It wasn't really so, but it seemed to me. Popcorn popping on the apricot tree.
Wow.
That's just like a silly song that we sing in primary and stuff.
What does it mean?
Nothing.
I have no idea.
I have no idea what it means. It's just like
I'm assuming Joseph Smith wrote this song. Yeah?
I don't think so. No,
I doubt it.
I think
I'd be
it's
impressed.
just one of those things that like the words rhyme and it gets a kid's attention, sort of deal. I'm not really sure.
So they use it like at the beginning of like a Sunday school lesson type of thing, or
Yeah,
a
I think
campfire.
it just kind of helps, kind of wrangle in the kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna sing popcorn popping, and just kind of this, like, it's just a silly song that we sing.
All right.
I think that's probably answers the question pretty well. Just some silly things that members of the church do.
That's beautiful. That's a great example. Question number 5 at Meet C. What's the best thing about being Mormon?
I think growing up in the church and my parents being members, they've really, I'm not saying you need to be a member to have the same thing, but the morals that my parents taught me that I've lived by have really shaped my life a lot, because I know that if I wasn't living the way I am now and before my mission, I would probably be in a lot darker place than I am now. And so I'm just really grateful for that, because the church has really set a good example for me.
Awesome.
I would agree with that and add on to the knowledge of the atonement of Jesus Christ. I think everyone has an opportunity for repentance in this life. Everyone has the opportunity to lean on the arm of the Savior. You know, he did so much for us. We have an opportunity to use that atonement in our lives, to repent of the things we've done. And I think as well the morals that we are taught as youth or as young adults, where, you know, we try to go about this world and be as kind as we can, be humble, be passionate about what we feel passionate about, and to always welcome others.
Awesome. Question number 6 at Jeff Sagala says, are there some challenges you face that are specific to your faith?
Yes, absolutely. Challenges that are specific to our faith. We get asked hard questions sometimes as missionaries, and not always do we have the answer right on the spot for them. So that can be kind of a challenge. I think also some of the attitude toward our beliefs, I think, are sometimes made fun of in high school and things.
Yeah, that's got to be a weird thing if you're like the
Yeah.
only member of your church in high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in my high school specifically, there were about 5 to 6 or 7 members of the church in my high school. And that was over the course of when I was in high school, so it kind of dropped the number and then gained back a little bit and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of hard being the only member in your high school sometimes. I know that there are multiple kids all over the world who are sometimes the only member of their family. Sometimes they, receive the gospel, and sometimes their parents don't agree with what they believe, or sometimes their siblings don't, or, just I think that is one of the hardest things is continuing in your faith, sometimes being alone.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
And I think that's the same for everybody.
I feel kindred spirit there for sure. Question number 7 at Loving Christ Through Love says, what was life like living as a Mormon?
I don't really have anything to compare it to, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, is it happy for you?
Yeah, it's been a good life so far.
So far, so good.
It's a good life. We go through a lot of the same things that you all go through. Puberty doesn't avoid us. We still, my voice cracked it cracked in the video.
I noticed too.
I was like, oh crap.
I make fun of him all the time.
Yeah. So we a lot of things. Yeah, I think Elder Garcia was right. We have nothing really to compare it to. But we all go through the same things that everybody goes through.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Question number 8 at Caleb Isley says, what are some of the most common misconceptions people have about you?
Oh, this.
And there's a
the
million
list goes
that you
on.
could choose from.
there's
But
so many.
what jumps to your mind?
We don't celebrate Christmas. We don't eat chocolate. The caffeine one, we can't have caffeine.
I heard one time that we don't swim. That. I mean, as missionaries, we don't swim, but that's just because we're
busy.
We're busy all the time, so there's no time to swim. But as members of the church specifically, we don't swim. We swim. I like the pool. It's fun.
You have to go to BYU for college.
That is not true.
I actually took classes through BYU.
You did?
Online. When I was in high school, I took chemistry. It didn't stick the first time through, so I had to take it online. And it didn't stick the second time either.
That's okay. I'm not very good at chemistry myself.
Same.
Other misconceptions.
There's a lot, honestly.
There are a ton of misconceptions. But I think if for somebody that wants to know the truth about the church, there's going to be websites linked in the video that you can go to and just learn more about the gospel.
Or just invite one of the missionaries into your
Yeah.
house.
Hey,
That too.
that's me.
There you go.
And Elder Garcia.
There you go. Question number 9. This might help. At Elijah22, Daniel says, how do you reach people of color if the Book of Mormon condemns people that are, quote, darker skinned?
So it doesn't condemn people that are dark skinned. Actually, there's a time in the Book of Mormon when the darker skinned people, they're called the Lamanites. They're actually more righteous than the Nephites, which are essentially the white people. In the Book of Mormon. And in the Book of Mormon, in 2nd Nephi, one of the books, it actually says that all are alike unto Christ, black and white, male and female, bond and free, things like that. So it actually doesn't condemn people of color.
Appreciate the clarification. Question number 10 at Sarah Vega 24. What happens after your mission, and what impact does this have in your life?
That's so many good questions.
What's the next stage? Where are you going next? Going back to school? Going to...
For me specifically, and we can both answer the question individually. For me specifically, after my mission, I get home in May. I'm going to go and look at some schools in Utah. I'm also going to look at some schools online, just to figure out where I want to go for school. But right after I'm home and everything, I'll be performing in a pageant this summer in Nauvoo, Illinois, kind of a musical representation of the church history and everything.
Wow.
There's 2 pageants. There's the Nauvoo pageant and the British pageant. For the British pageant, it kind of goes into detail about saints who came to the knowledge that the gospel was true, and then how they received it in England and how they came over to the United States. And the Nauvoo pageant kind of focuses on the saints in Nauvoo and kind of how they lived, how they went about their lives, and talking about just Joseph Smith and his people and the saints.
Probably catch up on some Netflix and some Marvel movies.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel bad for Elder Garcia because he knows this is coming. So I actually went home for a little bit on my mission. Because I had an injury.
That's right. You had something with your hand.
So my hand was broken. We were on our way to a service project, and I had fallen off of a log, and I landed on my hand straight down like this, and it had caused a fracture in my hand. And so that needed surgery done, and I was told that physical therapy was going to take about 3 to 4 months, and that is a little too much time for a missionary to be down and not doing anything. And so the church sent me home with the option to come back on my mission. So I came out on my mission in March of 2018 and went home in May of 2019. So while I was at home,
You got to
I got to catch up on stuff.
You're like, bro, I got so much to tell you.
Yeah, I watched all the Marvel movies that I missed, from Black Panther all the way to Spider-Man Far From Home. I hung out with my friends and everything. And so after my mission, now I'm gonna go to college and look for a wife. I'm gonna date
the
around
MRS
and
degree.
everything. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. How about you?
So I'm I never actually got to go to college before my mission, so I'm just going to probably go to Utah Valley University, maybe apply to some other colleges. I don't know. But I'm going to get another job, work a little bit, go to college, just live my life, really.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Question number 11 from @Sabrina AJR. Many youth are leaving the church in general. What do Mormons do differently to help youth stay committed to their faith and culture?
Some of it is when a young man turns 18, they are invited. They are not pressured, but they are invited to do what we're doing, to serve a mission. And then after we're done with our missions, to kind of keep some of us young adults into the church. They have young adult congregations that meet together, which we were actually going to invite you to come and kind of see and see some of the, because that was,
I would love to come.
yeah,
Absolutely.
they meet on Sundays at, well, specifically in this area, our YSA, our young single adult group meets at 1:30 at one of the church buildings, just down the road here. And we get together, we have discussions about some of the things that are hard for young adults in the church. I know that our generation kind of deals with a lot more things that maybe our parents and our grandparents didn't deal with, that are, something that we deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so we kind of get together as those groups and we discuss, gospel, we discuss some of the things that go on in this life, and yeah, that kind of helps us maintain a spirit of happiness.
That's good.
Yeah, that pretty much covered it.
Would you say that there is the rate in which young people are leaving the church at large kind of similar to how it is in the LDS church, or is that?
I'm not sure actually
I don't think so.
So like out of the number of people that you grew up with in your local ward, and you think about where they're at right now in their life, what would you say?
Most of my friends that I grew up with that were also members are still participating in the church.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of my friends that I grew up with, it's kind of funny. We all grew up together, not quite in the same town, but kind of in the same county and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We would go to stake youth activities where we just have a bunch of the congregations. Kids get together, we do dances, we'd play games and stuff. And a lot of those friends that I made while I was in the youth program are now currently serving missions. Some of them have since gotten married to their eternal companion in the temple. They've been able to just continue living their life as well. So I'm not sure what the number of youth that are leaving the church is per se.
I think popularly it's saying something to the effect of around 50% tend to end up leaving the church in general.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what the statistic is for the Church of Jesus Christ. But yeah, if they choose to do so, like we said, we're not going to condemn them. We're not going to shove them off. We're not going to, harass them or do anything like that. We're not going to be negative towards them at all. We're going to continue loving them. We're going to continue.
Seems different than the stories that I've heard from like Jehovah's Witnesses experiences, where like if you leave, then you're shunned, like you're cut off from your entire family, like maybe actually.
Yeah, no, we don't want to do that because we want to help everybody.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Question number 12 @the Anthony Shannon. What type of ice cream do you like?
Ooh, that's a good question. I really like ice cream.
Mine would be mint chocolate chip.
Yeah. Oh, I got some mint chocolate chip. You want an ice cream sandwich? I'll get you one of these after. Yeah?
Yeah.
Sweet. I just got it yesterday too. I'm like, oh,
perfect.
It's a Tillamook one. Have you tried Tillamook?
Oh, I love Tillamook.
They're fantastic.
Tillamook is so good.
I'll get you one of these after.
Yeah, my favorite ice cream flavor, I think, it's probably Moose Tracks.
You're nodding. What's Moose Tracks?
It's like so good. It's like vanilla ice cream with some chocolate swirls in there, and usually it's like peanut butter cups.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm all about that.
Yeah,
that sounds
so
awesome.
pretty much any like chocolate flavored ice cream with like a peanut butter twist in it, you've got me.
Yeah.
Like,
Anything Reese's Pieces kind of inspired?
So good.
Let's
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Question number 13 @CJ2300. Do all Mormons believe the same thing?
I would say so. All the doctrine is taught the same, no matter where you are in the world, which congregation you're at. We all taught the same thing.
There's no like variation on belief in what that looks like,
No.
or variation on application in what that looks like.
I think it comes down to personal, application to the principles and everything. The doctrine changes. The doctrine, sorry. That was...
I was like, wait, what?
Cut that. We're going to put that on the internet.
That's
Gotcha.
not real. Got me.
Doctrine
No.
stays the same.
The doctrine stays the same. Policies and things can sometimes change. So for many, many years, church was 3 hours, and now it's 2 hours. That's one of the things that changes.
Sounds like an upgrade.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been busy all week.
Sometimes.
Serving missions.
Yeah, but like some of the things that, Sabbath day observance, that's that varies between family to family.
Mm-hmm.
For me and my family, we would listen to pretty music. We wouldn't, watch the news because sometimes that can be negative stuff on there. We usually just listen to hymns and stuff. We have a gospel discussion after church, eat dinner as a family. And I know that some families sometimes will go on hikes on Sunday to appreciate what God has created for us.
What was Sabbath observance like for you?
Like Elder Friend was saying, it's kind of different with every family. I know with my family, we could still watch TV and movies and stuff like that, but we wouldn't go out shopping or we wouldn't really actually hang out with friends either. I was allowed to, I just never really did. But I know that there are some families where it's like stay home, like observe the Sabbath day,
Take a nap.
Yeah, take a nap. That's a big one.
Love that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Worship at the Church of St. Mattress. Question number 14. At Yea Another Day, praying for the dead to save their souls? Question mark.
Praying for the dead to save their souls.
I think they mean something along the lines of like baptism for the
Baptism
dead.
for the dead.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
probably what
they're
they're
talking
referring
about,
to.
Yeah.
Because I've heard about that on the internet.
Yeah, so we do baptisms for the dead. That's something that we do in the temple. We're not literally baptizing corpses. But
Take grandma's urn and like dump it in the water.
Bunch of ashes.
Well, essentially, we baptize a living person in proxy for one of their relatives that has died.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
So when they're in the spirit world, this isn't like forcing baptism on anybody, but when we baptize somebody for one of their relatives, it gives that relative that they're baptized for the opportunity to accept the gospel. But it's that person's choice in the spirit world to either accept or reject that.
So if someone passes away and doesn't have a family member or a member of the church who's baptized on their behalf, do they not have the option?
I think, does it have to be family members?
Or just anyone in general? Fill in the blank.
I think anybody has the option. We take names to the temple to do those baptisms for the dead. And I think if somebody has a family member that wants to be baptized, then they can make that choice. If they choose not to, then...
No, but I'm saying like, so like I die, I have no family or friends, and I'm just forgotten, God forbid. But so no one is baptized on my behalf. Do I still have a chance?
Yes.
So then, again, why? Like if no one is baptized on my behalf and I still have a chance, then what's the point?
I think that comes probably with the resurrection and the second coming. I think that comes where Jesus Christ is able to teach you yourself. And maybe that's something that probably needs a little bit more of a deeper answer on the church's website. That's probably something that can be answered.
You could probably look that up on the website.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Question 15. At the Joe Hinkle says, what's your favorite part about missions?
We both did the same face. We're like, that's a good question.
And I'm sure you're making that face because there's so much.
There is a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into your mission.
There's a couple, because I feel like this is also like a good and bad thing. One of them is being out of my comfort zone all the time, because before my mission, I was a very quiet person. I didn't really like socializing with people. But now that I'm on my mission, it forces me to socialize with people, and it's kind of helped me to come out of my shell a little bit, to be more comfortable talking to people, making more friends and things like that. So I feel like that's helped me grow a lot as a person. But there is a lot of things that are good about a mission. So I don't know. It's hard to pick one in specific.
I think a couple of my favorite parts on being on my mission is how many friends you have afterwards. There are so many people that you get to meet on your mission that you...
And you're talking about people in the neighborhood or other fellow missionaries?
Everybody.
So
everybody.
Yes.
So everybody in the neighborhoods that we meet, everybody that we serve with, all of my companions that I've had a good relationship with.
That's cool.
And it's been awesome. And then other missionaries that we serve around and everything. Just the relationships that we build. And I think as well, getting out of your comfort zone sometimes can really help you in the long run, because there are going to be some things that you go through that are going to be uncomfortable that you're like, don't worry, I've done this before.
Yeah, for sure. Question number 16, at Giselle_best. Are you open to study what others may consider to be truth?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys had mentioned earlier in the other interview that you guys have actually attended other people's churches in the area.
Yeah.
Super cool. Question number 17 at Julian GZCS. Is Jesus the Son of God? If not, why?
He is the Son of God.
Yeah.
I was like,
Jesus
gonna
is
say
the Son of
something
God.
different?
It's like, well, no. Yes, he is the Son of God. He is the literal Son of God.
When you say literal, because you've used that language twice,
Mhm.
is there, like, do you mean something behind the word literal?
That he, I think in every sense, I think literal, eternal, physical, spiritual, I think all the kind of words together, meaning just that he is the Son of God.
Cool. Awesome. Question number 18 at Hannah Janelle Williamson. What do you believe about the afterlife?
That is also part of the discussion that we talked about.
That
Yeah,
is. You talked about the 3 tiers, but like, what does that look like? What are we doing on those different respective tiers of heaven?
I think we'll find out.
Yeah, I think we'll find out when we get there,
Yeah.
because I don't know that now, but
I had read somewhere, I don't know if this is accurate because,
Mhm.
not everything on the internet is truth, but something to the effect of like men become like the heads of their own planets or something like that. Is that accurate?
Essentially.
yeah.
But not necessarily a planet.
Okay.
But we believe that we can become like God.
Okay. So what does that mean?
I mean, how would you explain that?
I think for that question, kind of in the context that they're talking about, I would say that when we die and all of that process is done, and we enter into the celestial kingdom and become like God, we are heirs to the kingdom of God, and we are continuing to progress after this life. As to what we are doing, whether that's making our own planet or not, I don't know that information. So.
Okay. Awesome. Question number 19 at Abhishek_Paul_Leal. What do you believe we will be doing in heaven?
Same deal. Same
Yeah.
question.
I should have organized those questions a little bit better.
That's okay.
Question number 20 at Lim_Thoughts. If there's one thing that you could change about your church, what would it be?
One thing that I can change.
That's a tough question.
He got me thinking.
Yeah.
He's got me thinking.
I'm sure this is kind of hard because as a missionary of the church, you obviously want to represent the best that your church has, but also I'm sure you have thoughts on it. It's like, how do I do both at the same time?
Yeah.
Well, if I had an answer, I would definitely say it. But, like, I don't know. I've never thought about that question before.
Yeah, I think that's a
Really?
question that I would have to sit down and really think about.
Yeah.
So then you would be more comfortable with saying something to the effect of, like, I think my church does most things, if not all things, right?
Yeah, like I don't really
Wow.
have any problems.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think
I don't always feel that way about my church.
Yeah, I think we approach things the best way that we can. Sometimes, there are things that can be adjusted. There are things that can be modified. But that comes with any organization. you
Yeah.
know. If like we pay for something that is a little bit more expensive, and it's like, well, we'll pay for the cheaper version next time, or like something like that. I don't know,
Uh-huh.
like a tent. I don't know.
All right, very good. And then last question, a nice softball at JN What role do you think women can play in the church?
They play a huge role in the church.
Huge role.
Talk to me
mean,
about that.
Yeah. So in our organization, there's the prophet of the church, who is kind of the head over
Everything.
everybody.
Is that always a man?
Yes, because
Just because of historically it's always been a man, or by definition it's supposed to be a man?
I'm not entirely sure.
I think doctrinally
It's supposed to be a man.
It's supposed to be a man.
Gotcha.
Because we haven't received any other doctrine that says that women can hold the priesthood.
Have you received a doctrine that says women can't hold the priesthood?
We know that women have a very, very distinct role on this earth. They are mothers. They care for individuals. They have a loving heart. They are also incredibly intuitive. They're incredibly smart. They are, in a lot of ways, sometimes better than men. But the reason why there are men and women is so that we can go hand in hand together. Neither the woman without the man, neither the man without the woman. A lot of things that women do in the church, there's a women's organization that is known as the Relief Society. There's a woman that runs that through the keys of the priesthood, through the prophet. There's the primary, where they teach the children. There's the young women's organization, where the women teach the kind of teenage or young adult young women. There are countless individuals who put forth so many service hours, men and women. There are tons of sister missionaries. There are so many sister missionaries. I think in our mission it's almost half and half.
Yeah.
Like there's almost, I think it's almost half and half elders and sisters. Yeah, women play an incredible role in the church, because without women, the church probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they can do a lot of those things, but they can't serve as a prophet.
Right.
Is there anything else? Can they like preach at the ward on Sunday in front of the general congregation?
So like, you'll probably come to one of our like session.
That's the plan.
Not a session, congregation.
Yeah, just one of the sacrament meetings is what we call it.
Uh-huh.
There are specific parts in the sacrament meeting that, I mean, they're not secret, but there are specific parts that are meant for holders of the priesthood to do, such as blessing the bread and the water. I know it's traditionally wine, but like we said kind of earlier, that we don't participate in alcoholic beverages, and sometimes wine is alcoholic, and so we just use water instead. But as far as addressing the congregation, yeah, women can address the congregation. At our general conferences every April and October, there are women who preach at the pulpit. They testify of Christ up there.
Okay.
So
Can women baptize?
that is another part of the priesthood ordinances that kind of fall under the priesthood. So for, I guess, things that women can't do, because it's probably what some people are probably wondering, is that what they can't do. When a man holds the priesthood, he's able to perform priesthood ordinances. And some of those priesthood ordinances are being baptized, receiving the gift of the Holy Ghost, giving priesthood blessings, and we can talk a little bit about that in a second, blessing the sacrament, and those things. Yeah, I think those are just some of the things that men of the priesthood can do.
Gotcha. Cool. Awesome. Well, that's all the questions that I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for bearing along with that. I know that we've done a lot of shooting today, so I appreciate that.
That's okay, yeah.